All right, so have you ever felt like you're kind of just like, on the outside looking in when it comes to international intrigue?
I
Well,
do.
buckle up because today we're diving deep into a story that honestly feels like something straight out of a spy thriller.
Oh, I'm ready.
We're talking about like legal battles and alleged military assaults.
Oh, wow.
And we're going all the way to Switzerland, where we've got this woman,
Okay.
an academic, Dr. Catherine Horton, and she's taking on the U.S. Air Force.
Really?
Yeah, so we've got audio of Dr. Horton documenting like, her attempt to contact the U.S. Air Force Space Command.
The Space Command, huh?
Yeah, specifically General John W. Raymond, like the top brass.
Interesting.
So the big question is, like, why is she doing this? What's going on? What's led her to this point? What do you think?
Uh, well, based on what you've said so far,
Right.
it sounds like she feels like she has some kind of grievance with the Air Force.
Yeah.
Maybe she feels wronged in some way or, something like that.
It's even bigger than that. So the audio is pretty wild.
All right.
It reveals that Dr. Horton is claiming that the U.S. Air Force is actually assaulting her with advanced weaponry.
Whoa, hold on. Assaulting her?
Yeah.
That's a serious accusation.
Yeah, and not just like any old weaponry.
Right.
She thinks it's technology that's so advanced that it can only be traced back to like the Air Force Space Command headquarters in Colorado.
That's a bold claim.
Yeah.
So we're talking about like space age weapons here.
Yeah, it's pretty out there.
I mean, is she talking about lasers or some kind of particle beams or?
So she doesn't actually go into the specifics of the type of weapon.
Oh, okay.
But what's really fascinating is like how meticulously she documents everything. It's like every single step that she takes to try to contact the Air Force Space Command through their website.
Okay.
She's building a case file.
So it sounds like she's being very deliberate and strategic about this.
Totally.
Not just like an emotional outburst or anything.
Yeah, she even mentions Bluffdale in the NSA
Left. Yeah.
and NSA.
Okay, so for our listeners who might not know, Bluffdale is the home of a massive data center,
Right.
and it's believed to be operated by the National Security Agency, the NSA.
Yeah.
Basically, it's a hub for surveillance
Right.
and data collection. So why do you think she brings that up?
Well, it seems like she's kind of acknowledging this whole vast surveillance network,
Okay.
but then she's almost using it to her advantage
How so?
because, she knows that they're listening
Right, right.
and she wants to create this like digital trail of all of her communication attempts.
I see.
It's like she's saying like, hey, I know you're watching and I want you to know I'm trying to contact you.
That's really clever.
Right.
It's like turning the tables on the whole Big Brother thing.
Totally.
She's not intimidated by the surveillance.
Yeah.
She's actually using it as a tool
Right.
to bolster her case.
Exactly.
Pretty impressive.
Yeah, and you know what else? She also mentions sending a cease and desist letter.
Oh, so she's taking legal action.
Yeah, it seems that way.
Like she's lawyering up.
Yeah, and this is where I kind of get a little skeptical
Yeah, I can see why.
because what kind of legal grounds could she possibly have to sue the U.S. Air Force?
That's a good question.
I mean, how do you even prove something like that in court?
It's uncharted territory,
Totally.
legally speaking.
Right.
If she were to actually pursue this, she would have to demonstrate like a really clear connection
Yeah.
between the Air Force
Yeah.
and these alleged attacks,
Right.
which is, let's face it, a monumental task.
Totally.
I mean, think about it.
Yeah.
She would need hard evidence,
Right.
not just her personal conviction.
Exactly.
She can't just say, well, I feel like they're doing this to me. She has to prove it.
So what are the chances she actually has this evidence?
Well, that's the big unknown, isn't it?
Yeah.
We don't know what she has.
Right.
Maybe she's got some smoking gun evidence.
Right.
Or maybe it's more circumstantial.
Yeah, and even if she does have evidence, could this case actually, like, set a precedent,
Oh, wow.
for holding militaries accountable for using advanced weaponry?
The implications are huge. I mean, if Dr. Horton were to actually be successful,
Yeah.
this could completely revolutionize international law,
Yeah.
especially where it comes to the use of advanced weapons technology.
It's a big deal.
It could force governments to be a lot more transparent
Oh, yeah, for sure.
about their capabilities and the potential impact that these weapons could have on civilians.
Yeah.
But the burden of proof, as we said, is immense.
It's massive.
Yeah.
It's crazy to think about.
It's like David versus Goliath,
Yeah,
right?
it's wild.
One person
This one individual.
taking on this massive global superpower.
I mean, this whole deep dive has left me with way more questions than answers.
Oh, me too.
But it really does make you think
Absolutely.
about the future of warfare
Mm.
and the potential consequences of all of this advanced technology.
Well, think about it. If her claims are actually true,
Yeah.
then it forces us to consider some pretty uncomfortable possibilities.
Yeah.
What are those?
Well, like what safeguards are actually in place
right.
to prevent the misuse of this technology?
Yeah, that's a good point.
And what recourse do people have
Right.
if they believe that they've been harmed by these weapons?
That's the big question, yeah.
We can't just assume that everything's going to be used responsibly.
Yeah.
We need to be asking these questions,
Yeah.
especially as technology keeps evolving at this crazy pace.
It's true. It's a little bit of a chilling thought, isn't it?
It is a bit unsettling, yeah.
But an important one.
Absolutely.
And I think this case, whether it ends up actually gaining traction or not,
Yeah.
whether it fades into obscurity,
Right.
it's a stark reminder
Yeah.
of the potential for power imbalances,
Right.
In the face of all of this increasingly sophisticated weaponry.
It kind of makes you wonder
Yeah.
what other stories like this are out there,
Oh, yeah?
hidden in the shadows.
Things we don't even know about.
Exactly. Makes you think.
That's it for this week's Deep Dive. Until next time.
See you then.